Hello everybody, welcome back. In last video, we have looked into introduction to data structures and learned about our first data structure array. We have also implemented array from scratch in our previous video. In this video, we will solve a couple of LeetCode problems on arrays. But before diving in, I want to share my thoughts on tackling LeetCode problems. When you're solving problems on platforms like LeetCode, HackerRank, or others, the key focus should be on developing your logical thinking, understanding the algorithms you apply, and choosing the right data structures. Solving hundreds of problems alone won't guarantee success in technical interviews. While you might encounter actual LeetCode questions in some interviews, most companies prioritize problem solving skills. You will often be given a real world requirement and asked to come up with best possible solution. As you solve one part, interviewers will challenge you with new requirements based upon your solution. So, in my opinion, the real goal of practicing LeetCode should be to familiarize yourself with different algorithm patterns and approaches for solving a wide range of problems. Now, let's solve our first LeetCode problem. For this, I have chosen two sum. This is a easy level as we can see. So, let's go over the problem statement. So it is asking in a given array of integers and they have provided a target as another input, we should return indices of two numbers such that the sum of those two numbers should be equal to target. Like here we can see they have given this input array and the target is 9. We need to give two indices. So here 2 and 7 sum is 9. So it is returning 0 and 1. Same here. In 3 to 4 the target is 6, so 2 plus 4 will be the 6, so it is returning 1 comma 2. So this problem can be solved in multiple ways. We will be looking two possible ways we can solve this problem in this video. So for the first approach I'm going to brute force. For this, what I'm going to do is, for each element I read in input, I'm going to loop over the input again, and I'll be checking if the sum of those two elements will be equal to target or not. Okay, so now let's start coding. For this, I'm first declaring a result. I'm using Java because most of you will be using Java, so I'm using Java for this. And so this is my first loop. In inner loop, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to loop again. Okay, and here one more statement they gave is you may not use same element twice. So I need to continue if I is j. I'm telling if I is j, then just continue without doing any check. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is we need to check the sum of these two numbers. So here what we are doing is, for example, at when I is 0, value is 2. So when j is 0, at I is equals to 0, we're continuing. Now now j will be 1 and I'm checking if 2 plus 7 is 9. So I'm checking if nums of I plus target or not. If it is target, then I'm storing the indices values. Here they have mentioned the order does not matter. We just need to provide those indices. So we are doing this and we are breaking because we don't want to continue once we find the target, right? So and here we need to return that result finally. Let us run and see. So it is accepted. Let's submit it and see the time complexity. So it has been submitted. The runtime it is beating only 5% and memory it is beating 77.18%. So let's see why it's beating only 5%. Let's calculate the runtime of this solution. Here we are having nested loop. So let's calculate the runtime for inner loop. In a loop, we are looping through all the input elements of the array. So the time complexity for this loop will be O of n. Okay, and in so what could be the time complexity of outer loop? As outer loop is also looping through all the elements of the input, then the outer time complexity will be O of n. Let me O of n into n, because the inner loop time complexity is n. So this could be written as O of n power 2. So this is brute force method. O of n power 2 is a time complexity. We know that this is not a good time complexity. We can do better than this. Let's see how we can do. So instead of looping through the input twice, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a data structure. In Java, we have a data structure hash table. So it is a child of this dictionary. So for this, I'm going to import dictionary class. See, I need to import. I'm intending to use hash table, so I'm using hash table. Okay. So what I'm going to do is when I loop through the numbers, what I want to check if the target minus that number. So if I'm coming here, so if 6 minus 3 is in my hash table or not. If it is there, then I'm just returning that value indices. If not, I'm continuing, but I'll be adding these 3 here. Okay, let us code and see. Let us declare the hash table first. So this is the declaration of hash table. I'm naming it store. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop. But the thing is, in temp, I'll be storing the target minus the element value. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to check if my hash table has that element. So what I'm intending to store in the hash table as a key is my key will be nums of I, and my value will be the index itself. So if I do store contains key temp, then I'm just storing that indices values. We can get this index like this for the temp, and I'm breaking because we found the value. Okay, if I don't find the value, I need to store that element in the hash table, because the later values can check for the temp here. So I'm going to do store dot put nums of I and the index. Let's run this. It is running successfully. Let's try to submit it. As you can see, the runtime of this solution has increased drastically. Now let's calculate the time complexity of this solution. In this solution, we are looping over the elements of input only once. Hence, the time complexity is O of n. But the catch here is the space complexity has increased to O of n, because we are storing all the elements in the hash table. In a real world project, we need to find balance between time complexity and space complexity based on the resources available. Now let's solve our second problem. I have chosen rotate array for this. This is a medium level problem. So the problem statement here is they have given an input array and they have given k steps. So we need to provide an output where the array has been rotated k times. For example, if you look at this array and they have given k as 3 here, this is the final output after rotating the array 3 times. So this solution, this problem also can be solved multiple ways. Let's do the brute force first. So for the brute force, what I'm going to do is, if first I'm storing the length. If length is 0 or 1, I'm just not doing anything, just returning. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to loop k times. For this, I'm going to do each time I loop, I am trying to rotate the array. So in let me declare it temp here. In temp, I'm going to store the last element. Okay. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to rotate array by an index. So I'm trying to achieve this in my first iteration. As you can see, 7 has been moved to index 0 and all the other elements has been indexed shift by one index. Hence, I'm going to achieve this. For this, what I'm going to do is int. Finally, I'm assigning nums of 0 to temp. Okay, I'm assigning temp to nums of 0 here. Okay, let's run this. So it is accepted in here. Let's see what happens when we submit it. As we can see, we got time limit exceeded. Let's see why. Let's calculate the time complexity. So let's go over the inner loop first. In the inner loop, we are looping over the all elements of the array. Hence, the time complexity is O of n. Rem Remember, as per our big O rules, we need to use different arbitrary terms for different inputs. Here we have two different inputs. One is arrays and one is k. Hence, we need to use two different arbitrary letters. So for the outer loop, I'll be using m. This is here. Okay, here we are looping k times. So what happens to the time complexity of outer loop? Then it will become O of m into n, because we need to consider two different arbitrary letters for two different inputs. Both m and n could be very big values. That's why we're getting time limit exceeded. Now let's look at another solution. For this solution, we'll not be looping k times. Let's see what we'll be doing. I'm deleting the code first here. So if we look at the input, the k value can be anything. It could be greater than the length of the array. In that case, how many times we need to rotate array for the final output? That we need to rotate k modulus length times. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare an array. Why? Because I need to store the elements I need to move to beginning of the array. For that, I'm declaring the array here. New int, sorry. Okay, we have declared the array here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to store these values into this array here. For that, I'm going to declare temp variables here first and copy the elements. copying the elements from the input array. Oh, I need to assign value to the j here. Okay, next what I'm going to do is, here we have copied these elements into this array. Now what I'm going to do is, I need to move these elements to the right. See here, 1 2 3 4 here to the right. For that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get the length of elements I need to copy over. So this will give me 7 minus 3, 4. I need to move 4 elements. For that, what I'm going to do is, and in the J, I will store length minus 1. So here 4 must move to this position, this index. So for that, I'm doing this one. So what I'm telling is, right now this index of 7 is 6 and index of 4 is 3. I'm telling, in the index of 6, I want the element which is in index of 3, 6, j minus k, which is like 6 minus 3. Okay, and I will be decrementing j. Finally, I need to copy the elements we have stored, these elements which we have stored in this array, into our existing array. For that, we are storing it like this. So we are doing 3 steps here. First, we are copying the elements that are going to be rotated into new array. Then we are moving the existing elements by k indices, and then we are copying the elements which we copied into this array at the beginning of the array. Let's run this. It is running successfully. Let's see what happens if we submit it. It got submitted. See, like this we can see solve a problem in multiple ways. That's it for this video, guys. In future videos, we'll be solving more LeetCode problems and learning about more data structures as well. If you would like me to solve any particular problems on arrays, please post them in comment section. We will solve them in future videos. Thanks for watching. If you're finding the content helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and click on the bell icon to get the notification as we upload the video. It really helps the channel and you'll stay updated with all the upcoming videos. If you have any questions, please post them in the comment section or you can send them to email as well. Keep practicing and stay tuned for more problem solving sessions ahead. Until then, this is Yash signing off. See you in the next one.